社交光谱，我是莱特。接触咱们时间长的兄弟们呢，都知道 Rsd 托德的言语游戏啊，以及 Rsd 朱利安的高共振沟通，都是咱们团队这边进行翻译的。那我们这里呢，会以一种全新的形式带给大家去解读蓝图 2.0 啊，这门课会从头到尾的塑造你的影响力。如果你没有影响力的话，你会发现你跟刚认识的人聊天的时候呢，对方会经常的走神，忽视你说的话。如果你陷入这样的怪圈里，你就会一次又一次的去思考，我下一步应该去做什么，我应该去说什么，我是不是缺了什么才导致对方对我不感兴趣。那么蓝图 2.0 是循序渐进的一个系统，通过我们后面系统的训练，你会发现自己迈出第一步的阻碍少了太多了，把你的沟通能力呢提高到你从未想过的水平。这不单单适用于情感方面，你的日常社交、你的销售、你的演讲都会接连受到影响。这是泰勒20多年里实战精华的提炼。下面我们开始正式的内容。
The things I'm going to be helping you with here, to me, I view it like it's almost like an emergency intervention. Like that's literally how I view it. Like you guys view it like you're here taking a program, here to learn something. I view it like a fucking emergency intervention. Because a lot of these areas, if you don't have a good grasp of them, cause major, major problems in your life. And conversely, when you have a grasp of them, are going to help you huge. So the advantages that I have due to my understanding of these particular areas are tremendous. I mean, I live in almost a completely different reality than the vast majority of people. And yet the skills I'm going to show you are very learnable. They're very, very learnable. And they're not like the gap between when you have this stuff versus when you don't is massive, and yet it just takes a couple hours per day to learn this stuff, and I'm gonna lay it out to you in a way that is learnable. Like for example, would it surprise you to realize that you could be public speaking as well as anybody on my team within a couple days? Does that surprise you? Does that seem weird to think about? Like these polished speakers who you've seen up speaking for years that are able to do 6 figures in sales, 7 figures in sales, that have crowds regaling them. Does it surprise you to think that you could be doing the same kind of thing? You can. I can show you how to do it. I'll show you exactly what I've been teaching them for many years. Like, does anybody ever pause? Like, I always find it funny that people don't pause to ask these elusive, obvious questions. Like, let me give you an example. You guys know our instructor, Luke? Well, you know what his dating life looks like, right? You know he weighs like 300-400 pounds, right? And yet very few people actually talk about that as much as they should. Like, why is nobody talking about a 300 to 400 pound man dating some of the most attractive people in the world? Why aren't they talking about this forever? Like that's like all they talk about 24 hours a day. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like when you really pause and think about it. But what's funny is he'll make it look so normal that you don't really think about it. I mean, Neil Strauss, the author of the book The Game, I would even go as far as to say the same thing. Like, Neil Strauss is a 5'5" little bald guy with a high-pitched voice, also very successful in dating. Why? But you're just like, well, yeah, but he's the author of The Game. He's the author. He's on some different level. Why aren't we talking about this more? Like, why aren't we really digging in and talking about these, like, freak anomaly situations that completely blow the typical norm, right? But we don't talk about it. Likewise, why does nobody talk about the fact that every speaker that comes into my organization becomes this crushing public speaker within short order and develops some huge brand? Why is nobody talking about this? Like, what's going on behind the scenes that we're able to replicate this kind of result? Why is it that I can take just about anybody, and if they're just around me for a little bit, I can teach them the same social skills that I'm using for their dating life or whatever else? That's a bit weird when you think about it. It's a weird thing, and yet it's so in your face. It's just so taken for granted that your mind will go into this kind of like celebrity fallacy where you think, oh, well, Luke has a YouTube channel. That's why he's 300 pounds, 400 pounds, and has that dating life, because he's on the YouTube. And yet you don't realize Luke is exactly like you. Luke is a human being like you. The things he's doing is no different than what you'd be doing. There's no difference. So why aren't we talking about this more, right? Me as a public speaker, why is it that I'm able to do what I do? Like, why is nobody saying over and over, wait a minute, so this guy just did a 7-hour improvised event yesterday with nothing prepared, and it was probably harder hitting than most people's prepared content. Why is it that he's able to do that? These are weird questions. Why aren't they saying, how did somebody with light level autism learn to become one of the best at approaching of all time? How did that happen, right? But it's like, well, he's on the YouTube. Of course, he's on the YouTube. Yes, I'm on the YouTube, okay? Like, the only difference with me and you is that I just do, like, think about your life, then just think about if you just took a camera and just let it record while you're doing your life, and then you just press post. That's it. That's all that me being on the YouTube means. So we need to be looking deeper at some of these elusive, obvious questions of why it is that we're able to get these results, and realize that anything that I'm doing or that other instructors are doing, you can do. You've got to get past that mental block that because someone's on the YouTube, that you're not going to be on that level. You should be looking at anything that I'm doing, and you should be assuming that you can do this. So that's the very first lesson I have to teach you. What one man can do, okay, what one person could do, another person could do. That's the first thing that you have to realize. What one person could do, another person could do. Get out of any mental blocks that you have, and get out of any limitations that you have, okay? Like we had you up here yesterday. I don't look at you as any different than me. My expectations for you are the same as my expectations for myself. I don't view it as any different. We're related to each other because we're both human beings. There's no difference. There's nothing different going on that if we don't just put in the right understandings and do the right processes, that you can't have the same result. I have no sympathy on you. I don't think of you as, oh, you're the shy guy who struggles, so even if you just make a bit of progress, that's pretty good. I don't have that view of you. I have no sympathy on you. I'm not going to pander to you. I don't think that you need to be treated any differently. I think that you can get the exact same results. 100% is what I think, okay? Because I've taught people just like yourself and seen them 10 years later what they're capable of. I know what you're capable of, okay? So the big question, though, is you've got to determine if you want it or not. You've got to determine if you really want this, okay? So let me talk about some of the benefits you're going to get out of this, and then we're going to launch into some exercises. The first thing to understand is I want to show you how to have awareness of your own potential socially. What that means is that you probably don't understand currently how to be a leader. You probably don't fully understand. You probably don't understand currently how to move people. You don't understand how to use your communication to create, whether it's attraction, friendship, networking possibilities, getting hired, all of these different aspects of social communication that are going to determine the quality of your life. You probably don't get these right now. And you've watched videos of mine and you've said, this changed my life. But guess what? How different is your life really at this point based on watching my videos? That's why I've got to get you in here to do the work. Because yes, your life would be somewhat different, but a lot of what you're going to get from watching videos is more just psychological relief. Now, here's what I mean by that. When you're struggling in an area, I know this because I went through the same process. When you're struggling in an area and then you see that somebody who's like you got better in that area, you realize that it's not your fault or that there's not some kind of like genetic deficiency. Like that was what was nice for me. I was like, oh, so I don't understand dating. But then if I did understand it, I'd be fine. So this doesn't mean I'm defective. So that made me feel a lot better, just knowing I wasn't defective. But nonetheless, when I was first learning it, it doesn't mean I could do it. So it was nice to know I wasn't defective. It was a relief to know that there was a path to getting better if I chose to walk it eventually. That was a nice conceptual relief. It made me feel better. But that being said, I still didn't have the change. Now, I could see other people getting the change. My mentor was Mystery. I could go out with Mystery and watch him socializing and watching people flocking to him. And that weekend that I did with him changed my life forever. Because when I watched a regular guy like Mystery having people flocking to him and begging him for attention, I'm like, wait a minute, so you could do that. I was determined to get the same result. But nonetheless, I still had to go do it, right? It's like if you see somebody who lost a lot of weight or got really fit, it's nice to know that you have that capacity to lose weight or to get fit, but you still need to go through the process in order to get it. So what you've seen from me on YouTube and social media platforms up till this point has been really powerful improvised concepts. These are concepts that I come up with on the spot to entertain, and to what's called infotain. It's infotainment. It's basically, you could be watching television like a TV show. Instead, you choose to watch my videos, which are going to be probably 5,000 times more educational than a typical TV show, and maybe twice as educational as a good TV show. Something like that. But, depending on the show. So, half as educational as maybe a really great show. But you know my point. So basically what you have is, that's called infotainment. You've now left the world of infotainment. We're not in the world of infotainment anymore, okay? I'm very proud of what I put on social media. I think it changes lives. I've seen how it changes lives. But this is going to a completely different level right now, because this is you being committed to actually changing. If you're here, you're committed to really changing. But we've got to go through the process. Now, to do this, we're going to have to push ourselves to transform. Now, anytime that you have a transformation, the first thing to understand is it's going to take energy. It's going to take energetic exertion, okay? Whether that's the tuition that you paid to come here, but more importantly, the time that you're using to be here, and more importantly, the energy that you're going to use to be here, okay? Let me give an example. Take my public speaking. I've worked on it for years. I can get you to 70, 80% of what I do in a couple days if we work together, in my opinion. That's quick. But for me to get into the world-class level, or to be in that conversation as the top speaker, that took me doing it again and again and again, and again and again and again, and again and again and again. And when you see me yesterday, for example, when I did my free event, I got out of here at about 3:30 in the morning or something like that, okay? Now, I started that event at 7 p.m. I get out at 3:30. Now, this might surprise you guys. It's not in my advantage to run an event that late. Anybody, for example, who's ever done sales from the stage knows you're supposed to run the event about 90 minutes. Why did I run it that long? Why did I make more money over the course of my career trajectory by running an event from, why do I get more money by running an 8-hour event? Even though by running an 8-hour event, you're proven to get less sales. It's proven. Okay, like my marketing team's ripping their hair out. So, yeah, they're not the only bald ones on the team. So think of it this way. Why would I make more money overall by running it longer? Can you guess? You enjoy it? That's for my enjoyment. That's great. What else? Why would I make more flat cash by running it longer? What do you think?
Longer term emotional investment.
That can be pretty cool. But believe it or not, you guys probably think that I sold you yesterday. See, my business is doing well, so I don't need to sell hard. If you guys ever want to watch me clear a room, come watch me clear a room, okay? Because the reason why, by the way, to clear a room, you basically just hammer if you go to certain very famous self-development events, they're going to teach you 5 lessons, and each of those 5 lessons is just training you to buy stuff. That's all they do. They do cheering, they train you on the 5 lessons to buy stuff over and over on repeat, and then they just clear the room out. They're not teaching deep content at all. It's just completely a sales pitch, the whole thing. Most of the most expensive self-help events on the market are literally just a pyramid scheme. They sell you to the one thing, they sell you to the next thing, they sell you to the next thing, and it's just a pyramid scheme. I wouldn't say they're teaching things that are bad. Actually, I think that even what they teach in the pyramid scheme is pretty cool, but I teach real content. I go very, very deep on my content. So why is it that I would make more money over the course of my career by doing 7 hours of speaking? Why is it that I make more money being here running an event, even though I could produce more revenues being in my home right now, banking it, because I'm running the operation? But why is it that I can make more money overall being here? What do you think?
Long-term loyalty.
Nope, not even that. I can make so much more money sitting at home. How much money can I spend, can I make sitting in my house? Oh my God, because it's scalable, bro. This doesn't scale. So what are some other reasons?
Turning your clients into wealthy clients who pay more later.
I think that could work, but why wouldn't I can scale that from my house. I can just create the program and have my instructor team run it to a very high level. Because I can train people on that, which is what I'm going to train you on this weekend. What else? Take a guess.
Just the feeling that you help so many people.
That's a great feeling, but let's make it about business. Let's talk money. Yep.
You're giving 100%.
Great feeling. Let's talk about money. Yep. Because this is going to relate to you.
Word of mouth marketing, because you spend 7 hours.
What's that?
Word of mouth marketing, because you spend 7 hours.
Oh, even with a short event, I can still blow your socks off. Yep, don't need to do it for that reason. What is it?
Thank you, economy.
Don't need to do that. I can still blow your socks off. You think someone comes to a 90-minute event that has a little pitch at the end that they're not going to still be super happy? Take a guess. Yep.
You're gonna upsell a bigger product?
No, not even. I mean, I'll do sales here or there, but not even. Again, if I want to clear a room, I wouldn't have taught real content. Okay? So here's the, okay, last two guesses.
You're in for life, you will not get bored.
Yes, long-term desire to stay in it is big. That was the first answer that's correct about money, but I'll give more. Yep.
I was going to say self-improvement and then finding a long.
I'd say that too. Here's the answer. I do my own events because I believe that I have the capability to be the best speaker in the world. And I believe that the only way I can be the best speaker in the world is by speaking. And I believe that when you're at the top level, you get paid astronomical amounts. See, even these really high-level internet marketers, they don't compare to Anthony Robbins, right? Well, why is that? What separates Robbins from, I don't know, say like a Frank Kern or Ryan Dice, who are, you know, or a Dan Kennedy, who are wildly superior marketers to Anthony Robbins, in my view. Why is it that Tony Robbins is at a different level?
He speaks way more often.
Because when you see Tony, you might as well be seeing Jesus alive. Okay? So Jesus reincarnated with 5% marketing tools is better than Frank Kern with 500% marketing tools. Even though Frank Kern is a guy who I think is very inspirational, and I think Ryan Dice is inspirational. All these guys I think are very inspirational. Alex Becker is amazing. You know, a lot of these guys are amazing. Now, here's why I bring this up. I'm going to teach you exactly to the letter how I speak, how I do social media, how I do all the things that I do. But at the end of the day, you've got to put it into practice. When you guys see me awake until 3 in the morning, when you guys see me teaching something here that doesn't scale, you might think, oh, he's doing this for business. This isn't business, okay? This is art. And with that art, you can then scale it. See, when I'm 50, I can dial back what I'm doing or go hire other people to serve those functions while still having these skills. So I'm going to show you how to do it, but I'm going to recommend that after this event, you think about how you want to apply this and don't hold back. Make a decision of where you want to use it. The way that I built this was there's probably about 10 understandings that I have to be able to do what I do. Now that sounds like it's like unrealistically low, doesn't it? Doesn't that sound unrealistically low? That I could do what I'm doing, just understanding about 10 things? Try me. We will do this together. You will see. Part of being a veteran teacher is that when you're new, you don't know very much. Then as you keep teaching, you learn hundreds of things, thousands of things, and you progress. That's maybe like year 1, you know almost nothing. Year 5, you know way too much, right? My seminars at year 5 would have been encyclopedic, and then there's this aspect, this aspect, this aspect, this aspect, this aspect, this aspect. I'd be showing you every little nuance of anything that you'd ever want to know. I mean, I'll give examples of it later if you want me to talk about it. Like, I had one of my first ever things I wrote was something called the 25 points. And I would literally give every little, like, bodily positioning to use and things to not do and so on and so forth. And you'd have to remember lists of stuff to do it perfect. Now, you catch me at year 8 or 9, and I'm like, here, do this little interactive exercise for 6 minutes, and you're going to automatically do that 25 points of things, and you're not going to have to think about it. It's just going to happen because we did one little tweak for 6 minutes. Now, that sounds crazy, but that's called being a veteran teacher, okay? It's usually around year 10 that the genius kicks in. Have you ever heard of George Leonard, the book called Mastery? It's usually at about 10,000 hours, about a decade deep. That's when genius starts to kick in, okay? You start getting into the 20-year range. You go into that, like, world-class legend range, right? I'm not an icon, but I can go down as a legend. Why can't I be an icon?
Okay.
Not just that. I can't be an icon because icon's in the mainstream, right? You can't be an icon, because an icon is somebody like Mother Teresa, where the average person on the street knows who she is, not even really knowing the backstory or anything like that. That's someone who's iconic. I can't teach you to be iconic because that requires you to have mainstream exposure, okay? But I can teach you to be a living legend, okay? I can teach you how to make people cry when they see you on the street, pull out money, and just start handing you cash, okay? That happens to me every day. I can show you how to do that, okay? I can show you to be a legend within your niche, okay? I can show you how to be a living legend within your niche. I will show it to you, and if you make the decision, you will do it. I can show you how to date the people you want to date, and I'm talking sky's the limit. You can date not the specific person that you want to date, because that would be manipulation. I can't show you this one person how to date them. That's manipulation. but I can show you how to date the kind of person who you want to date for sure. I can show you how to make the kind of money you want to make. I can't guarantee you get a specific hire, but I can show you the pathways to make that kind of money, and I can show you how to have vicious unfair advantages over almost anybody else. And I will not just show you this, I will hardwire it into you. I will get you doing this so that by the time you leave, the muscles are beginning to get formed, okay? I will show you this. But going back to what I said about why I teach all the time, in the long term, you have to put it into practice. I can show you how to speak within a framework of sales and marketing, but if you just go back to speaking in your regular way, nothing's going to come of this. So you've got to take note of what it is that I'm going to show you, and then you have to proceed to put it into practice. Then if you put it into practice over and over and over, that is where you'll get to the point where people will freak out, okay? Now, by the way, the secret sauce of why you can become that living legend and have people freak out.
在开头啊，泰勒提出了一个又一个的核心思想，他列举了 RSD 导师中的一些人，比如卢克，一个300斤的胖子，一个矮个子的型男，这两个都是能够做出一些出乎常人的事情，他们能够很好的去进行社交，并且交到好多女朋友，并且呢，现在依然在传授相关的一些经验。这时候呢，我们就要跳出一个叫名人光晕的一个东西，人们呢常常会陷入到名人的光环里面，他认为取得成就的人啊与自己是不同的，而并没有意识到，其实我们每个人都有同样的潜力，一个人能做到的，另一个人也能做到。正是因为我们都是人，所以我们没有任何的一个区别，别人行你也行，别人没有比你多长一个脑袋和一个胳膊一条腿。在我们的研讨会群里面，你也可以见证其他蓝图 2.0 的学员是如何从一步步从0到1，从无到有成长起来的。思维上的卡点，有些时候呢，你想几年是想不通的，有可能你在群里的大佬轻飘飘的一句话呢，你就顿悟了。我们大家可以看一下啊，抖音的一些新晋的网红啊，比如说李子柒，他有没有模仿者？小杨哥，他有没有模仿者？这些网红呢，前赴后继，就像那个雨后春笋一般啊。我并不是说让大家去做一个网红，而是说泰勒也一直在说，一个人能做到的，另一个人也能做到。很多人呢，在面对他人的非凡的成就的时候呢，常常会感觉到不可思议，甚至认为这是因为对方拥有某种特殊的一种天赋，或者他有着比别人优秀的背景。事实并不是这样子的，真正阻碍我们的，往往是我们自己的心理障碍，将成功人士视为名人，认为他们之所以能够取得今天的成就，是因为他们跟我们不一样，他们和我们拥有不同的一些特质，但事实上，他们和我们一样，都是普通人。他们能做到的，我们也能够做到。一个人能做到的，另一个人也能做到，这应该成为我们的信念和行动指南。还有一个问题，就是我们所说的一个实践的问题啊，你光说不练，肯定会一无所成。就是你们在学他的蓝图解码之前啊，天天嘴上都能说，对吧？有的时候我会在群里面看到他去指导别人的聊天，一个比一个厉害，但是本质上都没有说透。说来说去，无非就是之前蓝图 1.0 的东西，说什么要有核心自信啊，要突破社会性限制啊，要怎么样怎么样，这些都是空泛的口号。而泰勒也说了啊，尤其是在他的蓝图 2.0 反复强调了实践这一点。其实有些同学啊买了太多的课，也去网上翻阅了无数的资料啊，尤其是情感课啊，大同小异。我觉得学知识啊要从源头学习，更要去实战。你只有采取了正确的理解和做正确的事啊，你才能获得成功。这不仅仅是学习表层的知识啊，更重要的是你要去亲自实践，这样才能去掌握这些技巧。那么理解和消化这一部分的工作，我们在蓝图 2.0 研讨会里面会对核心的部分一个深入的解读。如果你想要更好的传递你自己是谁，你想把你自己的生活展示给别人看的时候其中对于我们来说拍视频、拍抖音，这就是最好的传播你的一个方式。这样虽然听起来挺简单，这一切背后都需要克服很多显而易见的心理障碍。其实我们作为男性，很少有人会去把自己的展示面、自己的朋友圈去打造好。就是当我们作为一个看课、看视频学习的时候尽管能在心理上得到一些宽慰，但是只有亲自经历过这个过程之后，你才能真正的取得成果。就像你看很多人通过减肥健身取得了成功，仅仅知道这一点呢，其实你也可以，对吧？你心想我也能够通过减肥和健身够获得一个好的身材，但是你讲是不够的， 你仍要管住嘴，迈开腿，亲历其中。所以说，一个人能做到的，另一个人也能做到，而不是表层的一个理解。并不是说我读了《葵花宝典》，我就能变成天下第一。哪怕你把《蓝图解码2.0》读背了，依然只是口头上的纸上谈兵啊！现实世界瞬息万变，充满了各种复杂的情况和突发的事件。如果说你过于依赖理论的话，容易形成思维的定式，缺乏灵活的创造力。遇到理论无法解释和知道的问题时呢，你就会无从适从。所以说，为什么有些人会中毒，就是一知半解，光说不练啊，导致自己走火入魔，越陷越深。真正的蜕变和成长是需要付出实际的行动和努力的。光看视频、听道理是远远不够的。看视频呢，虽然能够得到心灵的慰藉，但是真正改变还是需要付出行动的。你学太多都没有用，是没有办法取得成果的。那么成就壁垒呢，就是我们经常为别人的成功去找理由，因为他人高啊，因为他帅啊，因为他有钱啊，总之都有原因。我们会为自己的失败去找借口，因为自己丑，因为自己穷，不愿意去实现自己的真正的一个目标，下定决心要获得同样的成果。但无论如何呢，我们还是要必须去实践，这是我们泰勒一直在强调的。